Insights from the Transcript. Introduction. Have you ever felt like learning English is a puzzle with pieces all over the place, and you don't know how they fit? Maybe you've wondered why some people learn new languages easily while others find it hard. What if the way to learn English isn't just about knowing more words or rules, but about looking at languages in a new way? What if the secret is not just in the language you want to learn, but in the languages you already know, or even ones you haven't heard before? This book looks at interesting ideas found in a recent talk. This talk, full of spoken thoughts, gave a special look at how we learn languages. By looking closely, we found connected ideas that show a strong, but often missed, truth about how we learn languages. We want to explain these ideas and show why they are important for anyone learning a language. Our goal is to give you a new way to think, helping you understand and feel more sure about learning languages. A main idea in this book is the key idea. A key idea is a main, repeated thought or rule that helps you understand the talk better. These are not just simple topics. They are the main things that drive the talk, the repeated parts that, when you see them, make the whole talk clear. By finding and looking at these key ideas, we can go beyond just saying what we see to really understand why and how the speaker had these thoughts. They are the strong parts that hold up the whole idea. As we will see, the talk shows several important key ideas, like how learning languages are connected, how knowing your own language helps a lot, and how learning a third language can be surprisingly good. Our journey starts with a basic key idea: how much we don't notice the power of knowing your own first language. The talk shows how knowing your first language well, its rules and how it works, can be a great help for learning other languages, like English. This is not just about knowing words, it's about seeing the basic sense, the sentence rules that shape how you speak. This basic knowledge helps you understand new language ideas better. Building on this, we look at another important key idea: how good it is to learn a third language. You might think learning only English is the fastest way, but the talk says it's not. We will see how trying to learn a third language, with its own rules, makes you better at understanding languages. This often helps you understand English better, especially the hard parts. Think of it like learning to walk on different kinds of ground. Each new place you walk makes you better at many things, so you can explore any language place better. In the end, these ideas come together in one big key idea: how all language learning is connected. The talk says that learning languages is not a set of separate things, but one whole process. By seeing how one language helps another, and how learning itself makes your brain stronger, you create a strong team. This team makes you learn faster and understand more in all your language work. The ideas here are shown in a clear and helpful way, making hard ideas easy to understand and use. Come with us as we look at these key ideas, using the wisdom from the talk to change how you learn languages. Let's start this helpful journey together. 1. Learning other languages. Learning other languages can make you better at English. When you learn a new language, you start to look at English more closely. You notice how English works and how we build sentences. It's like looking in a mirror. Learning a third language can help even more. When you compare two new languages, you learn how languages work in general. This helps you see the harder parts of English, like special verb tenses or small words called prepositions. The text shows that comparing languages makes these things clearer. New words and how people use language in different cultures also make you better at languages. 2. Improving English through understanding other languages. Learning a new language can actually make your English stronger. When you learn how your own language works, like the order of words in a sentence or how verbs change, it becomes easier to spot those same ideas in English. Think of it like having a guide for how language is put together. Even learning a language that is very different from yours can be helpful. It shows you new ways to combine words. This can make you notice how English puts things together in its own special way. This helps you understand difficult parts of English, like why we say things in a certain way. The main point is that understanding how any language is built helps you understand English better. This is a main idea. Looking closely at the important thoughts and ideas in the summary. 3. Understanding grammar. Grammar is like the plan for how all languages are built. When you know how your own language makes sentences, it helps you a lot. This is good for learning English grammar because many ideas are the same. Even learning another language helps. When you look at how different languages say things, you see how they are alike. This shows you what is special about English grammar. It can also make hard parts easier to understand. For example, it can help you know when to use different verb times or how to make sentences the right way. It is about seeing how things fit together, not just remembering rules. In conclusion, we finish our look at what we learned from the words. We saw how learning languages fits together in an interesting way. We started by looking at how knowing one language can help you understand another, especially with the tricky parts of English. All through this, one main idea kept showing up. It was like a light showing us the way. We learned that studying the language isn't just about memorizing facts. It's about understanding more and seeing how things connect. The main idea that kept coming up is that learning languages is all about how they are linked. Our main idea is this: when you understand how one language works, its rules, and how it makes sense, it helps you learn and understand English better. This is true no matter if it's the language you grew up with or another language you learned. It's not just about learning new words. It's about building a stronger way to understand language. The words we looked at showed how the grammar and special phrases from other languages can be like helpful comparisons. They can make the hard parts of English seem easier. This sharing of what you already know isn't by chance. It's a basic way our brains learn. Our brains are good at finding patterns and using what we already know to figure out new things. It's like having a map of one city that helps you understand the map of another city, even if they look different. This main idea of how things are linked is shown clearly by some important things we saw. First, we learned that knowing your own language well is very important. When we understand the basic rules of our first language, how sentences are built, how verbs change, and how words change their endings, we start to understand how grammar works. This natural understanding then helps us see English grammar in a better way. For example, if you know how your first language shows time, you can more easily compare it to how English shows time. You can see what's the same and what's different. This helps make learning easier and less scary. Second, learning a third language can be very helpful. This might seem strange, but it often gives you a new way to look at things. When you learn different language systems, you have to think more deeply about language itself. This can show you general rules that apply to many languages or special ways to solve grammar problems that you might not see when you only compare two languages. This is especially true for the harder parts of English. Think about the small words like in, on, and at in English, or phrases like look up or give in. If you have learned a language that has similar tricky phrases or ways of using small words, you might have already learned how to deal with these challenges. This makes it easier to learn the English versions. This use of what you already know to solve problems is a strong sign of our main idea. For example, if a language has a very specific way to show that something belongs to someone, understanding that system make it easier to understand the different ways English shows belonging, like John's book or the Book of John. What this main idea means goes beyond the examples we looked at. It suggests that learning languages is not a series of separate tasks. It's a process that keeps going and connects to other things. By believing that what you learn about languages builds up and can be used in new ways, learners can start learning new languages with a feeling of discovery and connection instead of feeling overwhelmed. This way of thinking helps people see what they already know about languages not as a limit, but as something valuable. As you continue to learn languages, whether you are learning more about English or starting a new language, remember this main idea. The connections are there, waiting for you to find them. By looking for these links and using what you already know about languages, you can find a faster, smarter, and more enjoyable way to become fluent and understand well. It helps you see learning languages as a whole, where each language you learn adds to your understanding of all languages. In short, what we learned showed a beautiful truth. Languages talk to each other. By listening carefully, we can learn to speak them all better. Welcome the connections, stay curious, and let the main idea of language harmony guide you. The world of language is a large, connected picture, and you now have a piece to help you understand its wonders.